Welcome to the first webinar in the exclusive Travel Daily and Cruise Weekly series with Crystal Cruises. Today, we're here in Sydney and we're going to go and meet with Karen Christensen, the Senior Vice President and Managing Director for Australia and New Zealand for Crystal Cruises. What makes Crystal Serenity and Symphony so special?
I think the thing about Crystal Serenity and Symphony is the fact that it's the most awarded cruise line over the last 20 years. So that speaks for itself anyway. But also the fact that we're very fortunate in that we have owners with deep pockets. And in saying that they're keen to make sure that they reinvest with the onboard product. So in other words, these two ocean ships by November this year will both have had multi-million dollars spent on them. And they're just going to make them incredibly relevant in the luxury space and keep everyone else honest. So, you know, it's not necessarily, new is not necessarily the only story to be told, and I think Crystal, Symphony and Serenity are absolutely the showcase of that.
And tell me about the partnership with Nobu. That's been a long-standing partnership, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. It's a great partnership because, again, it signatures what Crystal is about in terms of trying to give the guests just that unique experience. And Nobu has been a long-term partnership, and every 18 months himself, he's so invested, he goes on board to make sure that, you know, it's a quality assurance check and making sure the menus are in line with what the market is doing or what he wants delivered. Chefs are skilled up again and trained on any changes to the menu, and perhaps he's sharpening his knives, I don't know. But he has recently just sailed on Crystal Serenity in the Baltic.
Wonderful. And when people travel these days, it's not just all about the destinations. They want to feel like they're bettering themselves and learning. Can you talk me through how Crystal deals with this?
Yeah, absolutely. It starts with the itinerary planning, and at the end of the day, the itineraries have got to be attractive as well to bring somebody new to your business. And the itinerary planners spend a great deal of time making sure that they can get as many overnights in the key ports of call that we can, or as long as any single day in a port of call that we can. Also, it's about, Crystal have been recognised for a very long time about what they do on board. We have the Crystal Institute where people can go and do computer classes, photography classes, or, you know, language classes. You could come off fluent in Italian, as long as you're cruising for at least a week or more. But also I think that what's important is on board that we also look at theming cruises, and I'm hesitant to call them theme cruises because some people may think of that as, what's a theme cruise really? But I have to say Crystal does it quite differently. It's quite a bespoke theme cruise, and it usually brings somebody that's an expert in their field in terms of hosting those theme cruises, like a wine sommelier expert or a culinary chef, or, you know, we have a golf program because of course we've got the PGA golf nets on board just to practice before you get to the courses. So it's very much about bespoking a theme journey and an experience for a client.
Crystal Serenity and Symphony have been in the market for over 20 years. What makes them so special?
Crystal has prided themselves on the success of a few things, and that's the reputation, of course, which is built on a number of hallmarks that we absolutely remain consistent with. And those hallmarks are things like, you know, we have more awards than any other cruise line in the luxury space. We also have more than 8 dining venues on board the ships, unlimited fine wines that are included, and spirits whenever you want them, any time of the day. We've got the most highly awarded staff at sea as well, so they're well trained and they stay with us a very long time. 24-hour personal butler service with any of our suites, from a leading category suite. One of the highest guest to crew ratios in the luxury business, and enrichment throughout our Creative Learning Institute that we've talked about before.
So Crystal will be debuting a new class of ship. Can you tell me about that?
We are. We're doing a class of ship called the Diamond Class. That's not until 2022. It'd be great to have a new ship in the ocean fleet tomorrow, but we're not overly concerned about that in terms of, we believe that the Crystal Serenity and Symphony, with their reimaginations and their new fit-outs, will stay relevant in the luxury space to keep us as competitive as anyone else that's out there.
Sure. And can you paint me for a picture in terms of agents and the earning potential of selling Crystal Cruises?
Yes, absolutely. There's the obvious one where they earn their commission on the cruise itself, but we also pay commission on pre and post hotels, our overland adventure. Having been in this industry for a very long time, I don't think I've ever come across a company that's got the flexibility in a group policy like we have, that's really, you know, a great opportunity for agents to have a bit of an exclusivity around a certain itinerary and take some group space, and it's not expensive. So I really encourage the trade partners to have a look at that with us. And of course, then if you sell 3, you can sail free with us. So there's great incentives all round.
So some Australian travellers just want to travel with fellow Aussies and others want to travel with people from more of a diverse background. Are there any particular Crystal cruises that cater to Aussie travellers?
No, we don't bespoke an itinerary to really target just the Australians, but the close to home voyages are always popular. I mean, it takes us 20 hours to fly anywhere basically from Australia, and we've seen this in our first year of operation where the close to home voyages sold out really quickly. And I think it was because people want to avoid that long journey on an aircraft. But traditionally, the Australian travellers like going to the Mediterranean, Alaska, and those international ports and harbours as well. So we're very fortunate, I think, at Crystal with having a real diverse mixture of cultures from Asia Pacific, UK, Europe, North America, and I think that really the luxury traveller today, or an affluent traveller, whichever way you want to call them, looks for that interaction of multi sort of nationalities, not just being on a ship full of Australians. So, and I think that's part of our hallmark as well, what we attract.
Wonderful. Well, why don't we head back to the office and talk about river and expedition?
Excellent, let's do it.
Wow, so this is the office. How long have you been here for now?
This is indeed the office. I think it's fantastic, don't you?
I do.
I started with Crystal on the 1st of August 2016, so we had no floor space even chosen, and officially opened on the 3rd of January. And today, 14 staff, all magnificent people, and I think we're doing incredibly well.
So what has been the highlight so far?
The highlight, without a doubt, has been the trade agent support that we've got from the partners out there. It really gave a great deal of confidence about we'd made the right decision corporately to open this office, and it's been fantastic because we've seen such a growth already that it's just really encouraging as to where Crystal's going to be in the future.
Great. So what's the focus for the coming year?
Education. We really still have a lot to do in terms of getting our trade partners and consumers to understand that Crystal isn't just a 2-ship ocean ship operation anymore, and it's hard. We've been doing that for 20 odd years, and now that we've got river, expedition, yacht, and dare I mention 2 aircraft, so there's a lot of education still to be done. So Jasmine, why don't we go and take a seat and we can have a bit more of a chat about what we're doing.
So Karen, you spent most of your career in ocean cruising. Would you say that would always be your preference?
Well, up until recently, yes, but I did get to enjoy Crystal Mozart in Vienna on the river there. And I have to say, wow, what a fantastic option now for cruising as well. Great way to see Europe. It really is a very special journey.
And how was Crystal Mozart received?
Brilliantly. It was our first entry into river, as you know, and the Crystal Mozart was awarded the Best River Cruise Line in 2017, which was our first year of operation. I mean, those sorts of things are unheard of. So we were absolutely encouraged, but no surprise really when the Crystal hallmarks come into it, and I'd like to share those with you. We have one of the highest staff to guest ratio, which means more space per person. European butlers that are very well trained in the highest level of service, locally inspired farm-to-table cuisine and Michelin-inspired menus, flexible open seating dining and dining choices. That's a big thing because a lot of the time on rivers you don't get more than one dining option. On Crystal you do, you get multiple. The largest suites on the river, more overnight and extended stay in ports. So again, people get that extra experience where they get to spend longer in a city so they can really come and go off the ship as often as they would like. And of course, our complimentary adventures shoreside, and these are a fantastic experience option for Crystal clients and guests.
So in terms of itineraries, what's proving popular with our market?
Well, we've got the traditional itineraries that people love, like the Danube, the Rhine and the Main, but of course we've just launched for 2019 some magnificent itineraries on the Moselle River, and that's proved really popular. Plus, of course, the traditional Christmas markets and those seasonal type itineraries, and of course tulips and windmills. Who wouldn't like to see those?
Wonderful, and we'll talk more about Crystal's River Cruise offerings in the next webinar, but how about now we move on and we talk about expedition. Can you tell me about Crystal Esprit?
Yeah, she's gorgeous, without a doubt. 62 passenger, she's our first level entry into going into expedition cruising, but she's just magnificent. She's something unique, as in she's got this little marina at the back of her with all the water toys, the jet skis, the kayaks, but not to mention this little personal two-man submarine that literally is a proper submarine that goes down underneath the water. You have to be weighed, of course, to get in it, so don't worry about that. But it's apart from that. And I think the thing with the Crystal Esprit is she's just bringing in to us, to Crystal, a new client base, something different, a younger demographic, and all the hallmark trimmings of a Crystal product, but with a relaxed atmosphere. She's just a fantastic one.
So where does she sail?
Currently, as we speak, summer months, we're in Europe doing the Adriatic and Croatia. And so that's just perfect for her because she's small enough to get right into, close into ports of call that the bigger cruise lines can't get into. And then outside the summer months of Europe, she'll head back through the Arabian Peninsula into the Seychelles, both of which really are hot topic items and destinations for Australian travellers. So we expect good support from that and can't wait to have her back in the Seychelles, to be honest.
And what makes her so special?
Well, like you've heard me mention before, Jasmine, about the Crystal hallmarks and what we build our reputation on, we have similar hallmarks that we have with our offerings on the Crystal Esprit. Everybody gets a butler on this 62 passenger ship. 31 luxuriously appointed suites, so they're all suites, so the space is quite large. They'll be some of the largest in a ship of this size in the marketplace. Michelin-inspired dining, like you've heard me speak of before, the complimentary adventures in nearly every port, and that's big. You know, people that are paying these levels of revenue or price to get into the luxury segment, it's nice to know that that's an all-inclusive for them so that they can get that. And of course I spoke about the submarine and the spoys, the water toys, I should say. So yeah, it's a true Crystal experience without a doubt.
So we're all waiting for Crystal Endeavour's itineraries to be announced, but what can you tell me about this ship?
Not a lot. I want to keep you in suspense. Other than to say to you, Crystal Endeavour, we can't wait either. She is an absolute game changer in the expedition market. She's going to only carry 200 passengers and she will have the largest suites of any expedition product in the marketplace, plus a whole heap of other things that I'm just not going to tell you about until the last webinar in this series.
Come on, you can tell me something.
Oh, go on then, all right. I'll tell you what, it's been built and designed in such a way that apart from, I just touched on the suites, she's built so that she can go to the polar regions, and here's some hints, and other most exotic parts of the world which we can't take our ocean ships currently to. So we are so excited to be able to expand that offering to our clients in the most Crystal way possible.
Wonderful. And so this expedition space, it's really booming at the moment. Why did Crystal want to move into that kind of area?
It was a natural demand for Crystal to go that way. I mean, we've talked ocean, we have river, and expedition is an area that is growing, and there's a lot of luxury, affluent young travellers that want to immerse themselves into these destinations that you just can't access in any other way. So it was a natural transition for us, and I think we will change the expedition industry with this ship, without a doubt. And it won't be the only expedition ship we have.
So Karen, it's been great hearing it from you, and thank you for talking me through all the ocean, river and expedition offerings.
You are most welcome. There's quite a lot to talk about, as you can see, and I just really want to say thank you very much. You've given up your time as well, and we really do appreciate it. Thank you.
So before we leave, we've actually reached out to a couple of industry peers to hear what they have to say.
I've recently been crystallised after returning from sailing on board Crystal Symphony. The food was honestly some of the best I've ever had at sea. They've got full, wonderful specialty restaurants. The new waterside dining room we loved, and I really think this is one of the best main dining rooms at sea, and it's great that it's now got the open seating. When we're talking about the entertainment on board, I really think with the size of Crystal, it does offer you a really wide variety of different acts on board. There's always something different on every day. The crew and staff on Crystal, I would have to say, are honestly some of the best at sea. They all seem to really love their job, and when talking to them, most of them have been on board for many years. And then the accommodation on board Symphony, the new Seabreeze suites are fabulous. They're really light and airy, and I think they will be great for the Australian clientele. And then the other thing I love is the deck on level 7, on deck 7. You can actually Of a morning, I would get up and then do laps around the deck, which was absolutely fabulous, especially after eating all the food. To get some exercise each day was really nice. I guess the highlights for me on board was the different restaurants, the mushroom soup in Prego, the excellent degustation lunch we had in the vintage room, to the wonderful company I was privileged to share the experience with. Honestly, this all helped to crystallise me, and I'm already starting to plan my next Crystal cruise next year.
I have definitely positioned Crystal in my mind as the benchmark to which all luxury cruising will be judged. The size of the ship was beautiful in terms of both passenger numbers, a very sort of intimate, friendly atmosphere through the whole ship. The other fabulous thing about it being a smaller ship was being able to sail through the Corinth Canal, which was a highlight for everybody at cocktail hour. Also being able to anchor in smaller ports, swim off the back of the boat, and also be the only cruise ship in some of the smaller places like Parga and Napoleon. That was really amazing, and I loved the shore excursions that were a bit more energetic, like the rafting on the Acheron River, the hike and walk up the gorge. Every course of every meal was a work of art. It almost looked too beautiful to eat, but we always did because it was so delicious. I was expecting my daughter, who came with me, she's 24, I expected her to be the youngest by a long way, and I was really surprised that there were other teenage families, there were a couple of young families, as well as the professional people, retired, that you would expect. And that was really good too. It gave the ship, I think, a really great atmosphere. Yeah, it was just such an overall fabulous experience.
So thanks for joining us. That's the first episode of our Crystal Cruises webinar. In a few weeks, we're really going to dive into the detail and find out more about Crystal's River Cruise offering.